Wisdom, once a respected bank manager, now pushed a humble wheelbarrow through the dusty streets. This was a far cry from the life of wealth and importance he had once known, all destroyed by baseless accusations of theft from his company. One fateful Monday, he arrived at work only to find a termination letter waiting for him on his desk. His accounts were frozen, his house and cars seized by the bank. The sudden fall from grace left Wisdom hurt, depressed, and heartbroken. Forced to survive, he had no choice but to take up the humiliating job of wheelbarrow pushing. A far cry from his previous position of authority. At home, the weight of his misfortune was doubled by Belinda, his wife, who never stopped complaining. She cursed him daily for his inability to provide the lavish lifestyle she craved. But Belinda's betrayal cut deeper than her words. When Wisdom sought help from his younger brother Victor, hoping for a bit of relief, he walked into a scene that shattered his soul. There in Victor's bedroom lay Belinda, in an intimate embrace with Victor himself. The pain of the sight was unbearable. Instead of showing remorse, Victor ordered Wisdom out of his house. "Get out, lazy man," Victor sneered, shamelessly continuing his illicit affair with Belinda. Wisdom staggered away, heartbroken and betrayed. Days passed, then weeks, and Belinda never returned. She had abandoned their 2 sons to chase a life of luxury with Victor. Wisdom worked tirelessly, pushing his barrow to make ends meet. But his earnings were meager, and the strain began to show. When his 2 sons were sent home from school for unpaid fees and his landlord issued an eviction notice, Wisdom knew he was at his breaking point. Desperate, he swallowed his pride and returned to Victor's house, hoping for a shred of mercy. But Victor's response was cruel. "Do I look like your bank thief?" Victor spat. Belinda emerged from the room, rolling her eyes at the sight of Wisdom. "Why are you still here?" she hissed. Without hesitation, Victor transferred another large sum of money into Belinda's account. Wisdom watched in despair, tears streaming down his face as he begged for help. Victor shoved him away without a second thought, and Wisdom returned to his humble dwelling, his heart weighed down by sorrow and betrayal. Little did Wisdom know that his downfall was no accident. Victor's sudden wealth had raised eyebrows, but few knew the truth. As a final-year university student, Victor had joined a cult that promised wealth, power, and authority. The price? A sacrifice. Someone close to him had to lose everything. For Victor, the choice was easy. Sacrificing Wisdom's destiny for his own gain was a price he was willing to pay. The days rolled by, each one harder than the last for Wisdom. His 2 sons, Emmanuel and David, often went to bed hungry. Their once bubbly laughter had faded into silence, replaced by the sound of their growling stomachs. Wisdom's heart ached as he watched them struggle, powerless to give them the life they deserved. One evening, as he pushed his wheelbarrow through the market, he overheard 2 traders gossiping about Victor's newfound wealth. "Did you hear how Victor built a mansion in just 6 months?" one said. "And he's driving the latest cars too," the other replied. "I heard he made his fortune through dark means." The words sent a chill down Wisdom's spine. He had always wondered how Victor, a struggling student, had suddenly become so rich. Could there be truth to the rumors? Later that night, as Wisdom lay on the thin mat in his small room, he replayed the events of the past months in his mind. The betrayal, the wealth, the arrogance, it all pointed to something sinister. The next morning, he decided to confront Victor one last time, not for money, but for answers. When he arrived at Victor's mansion, he was met by 2 heavily armed security guards. "Who are you here to see?" one of them asked. "Victor," Wisdom replied. "I'm his brother." The guards exchanged glances before one of them barked, "Wait here." A few minutes later, Victor appeared, dressed in a designer suit and gold jewelry. His face twisted into a mocking smile as he approached Wisdom. "What do you want now?" Victor asked angrily. "I need the truth," Wisdom said, his voice trembling. "What did you do to become so wealthy? Why did my life fall apart the moment yours improved?" Victor's smile faded, replaced by a cold, calculating look. "You wouldn't understand, Wisdom. he said. Life is about survival. Some of us are willing to do whatever it takes to rise above the rest. What are you talking about? Wisdom demanded. Victor leaned in close, his voice a low whisper. Your life, your destiny. It was the price I paid for my success. You should be honored, really. Thanks to you, I have everything I've ever wanted. Wisdom staggered back, his mind reeling from Victor's confession. You sacrificed me, he whispered. Your own brother? Victor smiled. You always had everything handed to you. Good job, beautiful family, respect. It was my turn to shine. Fury boiled within Wisdom. You destroyed my life. My children are suffering because of you. Victor laughed. That's not my problem. Now, if you're done wasting my time, get out of here. As Wisdom turned to leave, Belinda appeared, dressed in expensive clothes and dripping with jewelry. She looked at Wisdom with disdain, as if he were a stranger. Still begging, I see, she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Wisdom said nothing. He walked away, his heart heavy with anger and despair. But as he made his way back to his small room, a new resolve began to form in his mind. He couldn't let Victor's betrayal be the end of his story. He had to fight back, not just for himself, but for his sons. Victor sat in his grand, lavish mansion, staring out the window as thoughts of Wisdom's confrontation earlier in the day replayed in his mind. For the first time in months, a flicker of doubt crossed his heart. What if he digs deeper? What if he exposes everything? Victor muttered to himself. Unlike Belinda, who only cared about living in luxury, Victor bore the full weight of his dark secret alone. His sudden rise to wealth wasn't a stroke of luck, as most people believed. It was a calculated and evil act. As the night deepened, Victor knew he couldn't take chances. He drove out to the edge of town, where the path turned to thick forest. The Grand Master's shrine stood hidden within the trees, shrouded in an eerie silence that sent chills down Victor's spine. When he arrived, the Grand Master, a tall figure cloaked in black robes, emerged from the shadows. You look troubled, Victor, the Grand Master said, his deep voice echoing through the night. It's my brother Wisdom, Victor replied, bowing slightly. He confronted me today. He's asking too many questions. I fear he'll find out the truth. The Grand Master's eyes glinted with malice. Wisdom is tied to you by blood. His persistence could undo everything we've worked for. To silence him completely, a greater sacrifice must be made. Victor frowned, his chest tightening. What kind of sacrifice? The lives of his children, the Grand Master said coldly. Their innocent souls will solidify your wealth and ensure your power remains unshaken. Victor hesitated, the weight of the suggestion sinking in, but his greed and fear overpowered any lingering shred of guilt. Do it, he said, his voice firm despite the turmoil inside him. The Grand Master began his ritual, chanting strange words as he mixed herbs, ash, and blood in a clay pot. Finally, he handed the pot to Victor. Take this, he instructed. Find their footprints and pour this into them. By dawn, they will sleep and never wake. Victor took the pot with trembling hands. As he left the shrine, his mind battled with itself. A part of him questioned if he had gone too far, but his greed silenced that voice. That night, Wisdom sat in the dimly lit room he shared with his two sons, Emmanuel and David. He watched them sleep, their small chests rising and falling peacefully. Daddy, will we ever be happy again? Emmanuel had asked earlier, his voice filled with innocent hope. Wisdom had forced a smile and replied, Yes, my son. One day things will get better. But deep down, Wisdom felt helpless. The weight of their struggles was crushing him. He knelt by their bedside and prayed, tears streaming down his face. God, please, don't let my children suffer. They are all I have left. Show us mercy. Unknown to him, Victor stood outside, clutching the clay pot. He poured its contents into the boy's footprints in the yard, muttering the Grand Master's incantation under his breath. The air grew cold around him as he completed the ritual and hurried away. The next morning, the house was eerily silent. Wisdom stirred awake and called out, Emmanuel, David, time to get up. When there was no response, he went to their bed and shook them gently. "Wake up, my boys, it's morning." But the boys didn't stir. A deep sense of dread gripped Wisdom as he touched their cold faces. "No, no," he cried, shaking them harder. Realizing something was terribly wrong, he screamed for help, rushing to his neighbors. "Please, somebody help me. My children won't wake up." Neighbors gathered quickly, but it was too late. A local doctor arrived and delivered the devastating news. Both boys were gone. Wisdom fell to his knees, his wails piercing the morning air. He cradled their lifeless bodies, tears streaming down his face. Why them, God? They were innocent. They didn't deserve this. He sat beside them for hours, clutching their tiny hands, his heart shattered into a million pieces. Memories of their laughter and dreams flooded his mind, each one a fresh stab of pain. As the sun set, he buried them with trembling hands, tears soaking the earth. "You were my world," he whispered, placing the last handful of dirt over their graves. "Forgive me for failing you." That night, as he sat alone in the dark, anger replaced his sorrow. He thought about Victor, the arrogance in his voice, the sudden wealth, the secrets. Deep down, Wisdom knew his brother was behind this. "You've taken everything from me, Victor," he whispered, his voice shaking with rage. "My life, my dignity, and now my children. But I swear, you will not go unpunished." Wisdom's mind burned with fury and pain as he walked toward Victor's mansion. His children were gone, and his heart was shattered. Grief had consumed him, but beneath it was a rising tide of anger. He needed answers, and he needed them now. When he reached Victor's home, the grand gate stood tall and imposing, a cruel reminder of the wealth and power Victor had gained at his expense. Wisdom banged on the gate with trembling fists. "Victor, open this gate. You have taken everything from me." A security guard peeked out, but made no move to open it. "What do you want here?" the guard asked sternly. "I need to see Victor." Wisdom shouted, his voice cracking. "Tell him Wisdom is here." The guard hesitated but eventually let him in. Victor's absence made the mansion feel hollow, yet Wisdom's footsteps were heavy with purpose as he marched up to the grand door and knocked furiously. Moments later, Belinda appeared, her face expressionless, dressed in a silk robe that glimmered in the evening light. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her tone cold. Wisdom's eyes filled with tears. "My boys are gone, Belinda," he said, his voice breaking. "Our boys. They died in their sleep. I know Victor has something to do with it. He took everything from me." Belinda rolled her eyes and crossed her arms. "Stop calling them our boys," she said dismissively. "They're your responsibility, not mine. I left you long ago. Don't come here blaming Victor or me for your failures." Her words struck Wisdom like a slap to the face. He couldn't believe how heartless she had become. "What kind of mother are you?" he demanded. "You abandoned your children to chase luxury and wealth. You are nothing but a heartless, selfish woman." Belinda's face twisted with anger. "Get out of my house, Wisdom," she said sharply. "You have no right to come here and insult me." "I will leave when I have had my say," Wisdom retorted. "You and Victor will pay for everything you have done. My sons didn't deserve to die like this." Belinda's eyes darkened with rage. "Boys," she shouted, clapping her hands. Two young men, who worked as Victor's bodyguards, emerged from a nearby room. "Take this fool outside and teach him a lesson." The men moved quickly, grabbing Wisdom by the arms. "Leave me alone," Wisdom yelled, struggling against their grip. But he was no match for their strength. They dragged him outside, tossing him to the ground like trash. One of the men landed a hard kick to Wisdom's ribs, and the other punched him in the face. Pain exploded through Wisdom's body as they continued beating him, their fists and feet raining down mercilessly. "Stop," he pleaded, coughing up blood. "Please stop." Belinda stood by the doorway, watching with a cruel smile. "Next time, think twice before coming here to insult me," she said coldly. When the men finally stopped, they left Wisdom lying on the ground, battered and broken. His vision blurred as tears fall down his cheeks. Slowly, he dragged himself to his feet, leaning against a nearby fence for support. It was Victor's neighbor, Mrs. Agnes, who found him. She was an older woman with a kind heart and sharp eyes. "Wisdom, what happened to you?" she exclaimed, rushing to his side. Wisdom tried to speak, but his voice was weak. Mrs. Agnes didn't wait for an answer. She helped him to her home, her hands gentle but firm. "Sit here," she said, guiding him to a chair. "Let me get some hot water and cloths to clean you up." She returned moments later and began pressing the hot cloth against his swollen face. Wisdom winced at the heat, but the pain was nothing compared to the anguish in his heart. "You shouldn't keep going to those people," Mrs. Agnes said gently. "They're dangerous. Victor and Belinda are no good for you." "I have to," Wisdom whispered, his voice raw. "They have taken everything from me, my home, my dignity, my children. I can't just let them get away with it." Mrs. Agnes sighed deeply. "You are fighting a dangerous battle, Wisdom. They have already shown they have no mercy. But if you insist on going down this path, you must be prepared for the consequences." Wisdom's eyes filled with tears again. "What more can they take from me? I have already lost everything." Mrs. Agnes placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Maybe it's time to fight differently," she said. "Not with your fists, but with wisdom and patience. Seek help from God." When Victor returned home that night, Mrs. Agnes confronted him. "Your brother came here, beaten to the ground by your bodyguards," she snapped. "You and that girlfriend of yours have no shame, Victor." Victor laughed coldly. "Stay out of this, Agnes. You have no idea what's going on." "I don't need to know the details," Mrs. Agnes retorted. "What I do know is that Wisdom is your brother, and one day you'll regret the way you've treated him." Victor waved her off and went inside, but her words lingered in his mind. He knew Wisdom wouldn't give up easily, and the thought unsettled him. Wisdom kept pushing his wheelbarrow every day. From morning till evening, he walked through the busy market, calling out to people, "Let me help you carry your goods. Wheelbarrow for hire." Some people gave him work, but many treated him badly. They talked to him like he was nothing. Some refused to pay him. Others would give him small food instead of money. One woman asked him to carry her bags of rice to her car. Wisdom worked hard and finished quickly. But when he asked for his money, the woman frowned at him. "Take this bread and go," she said, throwing the bread at him. "Please, madam," Wisdom begged. "I need money. My children are gone. I am suffering." "Are you stupid?" the woman shouted. "If you don't want the bread, leave it. Should I call the police for you?" Wisdom's heart broke. He picked up the bread and walked away quietly. "Thank you," he whispered, even though tears filled his eyes. Another day, a man asked Wisdom to carry yams to his shop. When they reached the shop, the man gave Wisdom a plate of rice. "Sir, I need money," Wisdom said softly. "Please, even a little. I need to pay my rent." The man looked at him. "If you don't leave my shop now, I will call the police." Wisdom held the plate of rice and walked away. "Thank you, sir," he said, but inside he felt bitter. Every night, Wisdom went home tired and hungry. His house was small and empty. The silence hurt him more than anything else. He sat on the floor looking at the corner where his sons used to play. He held their old clothes close to his chest, crying softly. "Emmanuel, David," he whispered, tears falling down his cheeks. "I'm sorry I failed you. I couldn't protect you. Please forgive me." Some nights he had no food to eat. His stomach made loud noises, but the pain in his heart was worse. "God, why me?" he cried one night. "What did I do to deserve this? Why have you left me to suffer like this?" One day it rained heavily. Wisdom sat by the roadside, soaked and cold. His wheelbarrow stood beside him, looking old and rusty. People passed by, but nobody stopped to help him. A group of young boys saw him and started laughing. "Look at the wheelbarrow man," one of them said. "He is dirty and poor like a beggar." They threw stones at him and ran away, laughing. Wisdom sat there, shaking from the cold. He didn't have the strength to fight back. When the rain stopped, he pushed his wheelbarrow home. His clothes were wet and his body was weak. That night, he sat on his bench, staring at the empty room. "I can't live like this anymore," he said to himself. His voice was low, but his heart was full of anger. "Victor has taken everything from me. My sons are gone. My life is ruined. I know my God will fight for me." Wisdom stepped outside his house, ready to start another difficult day. His wheelbarrow was parked by the door, its rusty handles showing signs of his endless struggles. He had barely taken a few steps when he saw someone walking toward him. It was Belinda. She stood tall and bold, her face showing no shame for the pain she had caused him. "Wisdom," she said coldly, "I came to warn you. Stay away from me and my man. Stop interfering in my relationship." Wisdom looked at her, anger and disgust burning in his eyes. "Belinda," he said, his voice shaking, "you should be ashamed of yourself. How can you stand here and talk about a relationship with my own brother? My blood. You destroyed my home and left my children to suffer. And you have the guts to come here and warn me?" Belinda laughed, a mocking sound that cut through the air like a blade. "Ashamed?" she repeated. "I don't feel any shame, Wisdom. Let me tell you something. I only go where there is money. Your brother has money, and that's why I'm with him. If he goes broke tomorrow, I will leave him too and find another rich man. I do not like poverty." Wisdom's hands clenched into fists. His body shook with anger. "Belinda, is this the woman I once called my wife, the mother of my children? You left your sons to chase wealth. You abandoned them like they were nothing. What kind of heartless woman are you?" Belinda rolled her eyes. "Don't lecture me, Wisdom," she said. "You are a failure, a man who pushes a wheelbarrow for food. You can't even take care of yourself, let alone me. Do you think love can fill my stomach? You and your so-called pride can't give me the life I deserve." Wisdom's voice rose with anger. "The life you deserve? You think chasing money and destroying families will bring you happiness? Belinda, you may have money now, but your soul is empty. You've sold yourself for riches that will not last." Belinda stepped closer, her voice dripping with arrogance. "I don't care what you think. If you don't like my choices, that's your problem. Just stay away from me and Victor. He is my man now, not you. Move on with your pathetic life." Wisdom couldn't hold back anymore. "You are shameless, Belinda," he shouted. "You are nothing but a greedy, selfish woman who will destroy anyone to get what she wants. One day, you will regret everything you have done." Belinda smiled, brushing off his words like they meant nothing. "You can shout all you want," she said, "but at the end of the day, I'll be enjoying Victor's wealth while you push your wheelbarrow. Goodbye, Wisdom. Go cry somewhere else." With that, she turned and walked away, her head held high. Wisdom stood there, his heart pounding with anger and pain. Her words echoed in his mind, cutting him deeper than any knife could. He watched her leave, the woman who once shared his life, now a stranger who had destroyed it. He leaned against his wheelbarrow, his eyes filling with tears. "God," he whispered, "why did my life turn out this way? What did I do to deserve this?" But even in his sadness, a part of him refused to give up. He wiped his face with the back of his hand and gripped the handles of his wheelbarrow. "I may be down," he said to himself, "but I am not finished. One day I will rise again. One day Belinda and Victor will know the pain they caused me." He pushed his wheelbarrow into the market, his heart heavy, but his spirit unbroken. Victor was lying on his bed, fast asleep, when a strange chill filled the room. The air grew thick, and the shadows on the walls seemed to move. Suddenly, the Wise One appeared. He was an old man with a long, flowing beard, his eyes glowing with an eerie light. Victor stirred, feeling a cold presence in the room. He opened his eyes and immediately sat up, startled. "Great One," he said, bowing his head in respect. The Wise One's voice was deep and commanding. "Victor," he said, "your time is near. The power I gave you needs to be renewed. Without it, your wealth will vanish, and your life will crumble." Victor's heart began to race. "What must I do, Great One?" he asked. "I am ready to obey." The Wise One looked at him, his glowing eyes piercing through Victor's soul. "A sacrifice is required," he said, "something valuable to you. Without it, you will lose everything." Victor swallowed hard, his mind racing. "What kind of sacrifice, Great One? Tell me, and I will do it." The Wise One took a step closer, his shadow looming over Victor. The womb of the woman you call yours, he said coldly. Belinda's womb must be sacrificed. Victor was silent for a moment, then he laughed bitterly. Belinda, he said, she is of no use to me, Great One. I know she is only with me because of my money. She does not love me. If that is the price, take her womb. Use her however you wish. The wise one nodded, his eyes gleaming with approval. Very well, he said, you have chosen your path. The sacrifice will be done. That night, Belinda was fast asleep in Victor's house, unaware of the darkness surrounding her. The wise one appeared beside her bed, chanting strange words under his breath. The room filled with a cold wind, and Belinda stirred in her sleep but could not wake up. The wise one raised his staff, and a bright light surrounded Belinda. Her body twitched as the spell took hold. Slowly, the life force of her womb was drawn away, leaving her empty and barren. When the ritual was over, the wise one turned to Victor. It is done, he said. Your wealth and power are safe, but remember there is always a price. Betrayal and greed have a way of returning to their owners. Victor nodded, unbothered by the warning. Thank you, Great One, he said. I will continue to honor you. The wise one disappeared, leaving Victor alone with his thoughts. The next morning, Belinda woke up feeling weak and sick. She held her stomach, a sharp pain shooting through her. Victor, she called, her voice shaky. Something is wrong. I need to see a doctor. Victor glanced at her, uninterested. You will be fine, he said. Stop acting like a child. Belinda struggled to stand, her legs trembling. Victor, I'm serious. I've never felt like this before. Victor sighed, annoyed. Go see a doctor if you want, but don't disturb my peace. Belinda left the house, confused and scared. At the hospital, the doctor ran some tests and returned with a serious look on his face. I'm sorry, madam, he said, but you can no longer have children. Your womb is completely damaged. Belinda's heart sank. What? She whispered, her eyes wide with shock. How is that possible? The doctor shook his head. I don't know. It's as if something drained all the life from your womb. There's nothing we can do. Belinda stumbled out of the hospital, tears streaming down her face. She couldn't understand what had happened. All she knew was that her life had changed forever. Back at the house, Victor sat comfortably, counting his money. The sacrifice had been made, and his wealth was safe. But deep in his heart, he felt no guilt, no regret. To him, Belinda was just another tool for his success. Belinda came back home from the hospital with swollen eyes. Her tears flowed freely as she walked into the living room, clutching her bag. Victor was seated on the couch, scrolling through his phone, unbothered. Victor, Belinda called, her voice breaking. Victor looked up lazily, pretending to be concerned. What is it now, Belinda? Why are you crying? Belinda dropped her bag and fell to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. Victor, the doctor said I can't have children anymore. Victor raised an eyebrow but kept a calm face. What do you mean you can't have children? What kind of nonsense is that? Belinda wiped her tears, shaking her head in disbelief. He said my womb is damaged, Victor. Completely damaged. I don't know how it happened. I don't know what I did wrong. Victor stood up and walked over to her, pulling her gently to her feet. Baby, stop crying, he said, stroking her shoulders. Doctors are not God. What do they know? Who cares if you don't have a womb anymore? I will still love you, okay? Belinda sniffed, looking up at him with teary eyes. Victor, are you sure? Do you really mean it? Victor smiled, his words dripping with fake affection. Of course, I mean it. You're still my queen, with or without a womb. Don't let this doctor's report upset you. I'm here for you. Belinda felt a wave of relief wash over her. She hugged Victor tightly, her tears turning to gratitude. Thank you so much, baby. You see why I love you? You're the best man in the world. I'm so lucky to have you. Victor patted her back, hiding his wicked grin. Anything for you, my love, he said. The next day, Victor decided to take things a step further to keep Belinda from suspecting anything. He went out and bought her a brand new expensive car. When he returned, he parked it right outside their house and called her. Belinda? Come outside, he shouted. Belinda rushed out, wondering what the commotion was about. When she saw the shiny new car, her mouth fell open. "Baby? Whose car is this?" Victor handed her the keys, smiling. "It's yours, baby. This is to wipe your tears. I don't want to see you sad anymore." Belinda screamed with excitement, jumping up and down like a child. "Oh my God, Victor! Are you serious? This is for me." Victor nodded, pretending to enjoy her happiness. "Yes, my queen, you deserve it. Now stop crying and enjoy your life." Belinda hugged him tightly, showering him with praises. "Thank you, Victor. You're the best. I don't care what anyone says. You're the love of my life." She immediately climbed into the car, running her hands over the steering wheel. The smell of new leather filled her nostrils, and she couldn't stop smiling. To her, Victor was a dream come true. Unknown to her, the car was a distraction, a cover for the evil Victor had done. Her womb, the source of her pain, was the very thing Victor had sacrificed to keep his wealth and power. As Belinda drove off in her new car, Victor sat on the porch. He watched her leave, a sly smile spreading across his face. "Foolish woman," he muttered to himself, "you think I care about you. Your womb is already gone, and you don't even know it. Keep enjoying my money while you can." Wisdom knelt on the cold, cracked floor of his humble room. Tears streamed down his face as he poured out his heart to God in prayer. His voice trembled with desperation. "Father, please," he cried, "whoever has taken my destiny, whoever has caused my suffering, destroy them, Lord. Make them confess their evil and perish for their wickedness. Lord, I am tired of this pain. Please hear my cries. Forgive me all my sins. Have mercy on me, O Lord. Restore my life, Father. I need you." Wisdom stayed on his knees for hours, sobbing and pleading with God. The room was silent except for his broken voice. When he finally rose, his face was wet with tears, but his heart felt lighter. He whispered, "I trust you, Lord. I believe you will fight for me." The next day, Wisdom didn't go out to work. His wheelbarrow had broken down the previous evening, and he had no money to repair it. He sat on his wooden stool, staring at the broken barrow outside his room. Hunger gnawed at his stomach, but he had no food, no money, and no strength to beg. After some time, he decided to take a walk to clear his mind. As he strolled down the dusty road, his thoughts were heavy with worry. "How long will this suffering last?" he muttered to himself. "How much more can I take?" Suddenly, Wisdom heard a commotion ahead. A group of rough-looking boys surrounded an old man who was clutching a leather bag tightly. The old man looked helpless, his voice trembling as he pleaded with them. "Please leave me alone. Don't take my bag," he begged. The boys laughed mockingly, tugging at the bag. "Old man, give us the bag or we'll deal with you," one of them threatened. Without thinking, Wisdom ran toward them. "Hey, leave him alone," he shouted. The boys turned to him surprised. "Who are you to tell us what to do?" one of them sneered. But Wisdom wasn't afraid. He grabbed a stick lying nearby and swung it at them. "I said leave him alone," he roared. The boys hesitated, then decided it wasn't worth the fight. One by one, they backed away, cursing under their breath. "You're lucky today, old man," one of them spat before they all ran off. The old man stood there trembling, but unharmed. His bag was still in his hands. He looked at Wisdom with wide, grateful eyes. "Thank you, my son," he said, his voice shaky. "You saved me. May God bless you." Wisdom smiled humbly. "It's nothing, sir. I couldn't just stand by and watch them hurt you." The old man straightened his jacket and looked at Wisdom closely. "What is your name, young man?" "Wisdom, sir," he replied. The old man nodded, a thoughtful look in his eyes. "Wisdom, you are a brave and kind soul. My name is Chief Wellington. I am the CEO of Wellington's Estate and Wellington's Bank Limited." Wisdom's eyes widened in shock,